So yesterday we have seen how to declare the variables by using data keyword and by using what constants. Okay, and we also understood how to declare and initialize a variable at the time of declaration itself, and we have seen the difference between data and what constants. Difference between data and what constants. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll try to discuss about other data types. So let me open ABAP editor. Right. So I'll give the object name as something Z something 830 program 3. Yeah. Right. Type of program is executable program. Let us save it in the local object. Right. So what I'll do is let us try to understand more about integer and pack. So I'll declare a variable something data. So yesterday, if you remembered, I gave the variable names as what x, something like that. But in the projects, whenever we are developing the code, in every project you will have some coding standards. Okay, we need to follow that coding standards and develop the object. Understood? So coding standards will be different from project to project. You will have a manual. We have to go through that particular manual. Understood? You have to go through that particular manual, and based on that, we have to develop the code. So in most of the projects, variable names declaration you'll start with a v underscore. Understood? I repeat, in most of the projects, the variable declarations you'll start with v underscore. In some projects, it may start with a gv underscore. In some projects, they may start with lv underscore. Like that, project to project, you will have what different coding standards. Okay, we must follow that particular coding standards and develop the applications. Am I clear? So here I'll start the variable name with v underscore. But as I told you yesterday, you can give any name. You can give any name, but I'm trying to follow the coding standards. So I'll say data v underscore, understood, some variable name. Data v underscore, I'll say something x type what I. V underscore x type I. Okay, I'll give the value of this integer as something 123. Okay, try to understand what I did here. I declared the variable x of type integer and I've initialized it to what? 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me try to display it. I'll say write v underscore x. So what is the name of the variable here? V underscore x. The name of the variable is v underscore x. Done. Let me execute this. Check for the syntax, no errors, activate this. Done. It is activated. Okay, so when I execute, right, when I execute, I got the result as 123. So nothing great here. I just declared a variable of type integer. I have initialized to something 123. I got it. Now, integers cannot store decimal values. Understood? In any programming language, integers are not capable of storing decimal values. So what I'll do is here, I'll say v underscore x equal to, okay, v underscore x equal to, I'll try to store the value 123.45. 123.45. So, sorry, when I do the syntax check, I'll get an error here. Na? Okay, let me try to do the syntax check here. When I save it, check for the syntax error, I got an error in the 5th line. What is the error we got here? Statement 45 is not defined. Check your spelling. Understood? Statement 45 is not defined. Check your spelling. So it is giving an error here. Understood? So why it is giving the error? Because integers cannot store decimal values. And another point is, the moment you give period here, it indicates the end of the statement. Na? So from year to year, it will consider as one statement. After that, we gave 45, which it doesn't have any meaning. That's why it is giving an error. Statement 45 is not defined. Check your spelling. Am I clear? So it is giving an error saying that 45 is not defined. So I'll just comment it for your reference. I'll give it a syntax error. Done. So what I'll do is I'll do a small adjustment. I'll say v underscore x equal to, I want to consider this whole thing as a single value. Okay. So what I'll do in single quotes, I'll say 123.45. V underscore x equal to 123.45. So this whole value is considered as what? Single value. So far what we know, only character fields we are enclosing in single quotes. No? Only character field values are enclosing in single quotes. So even though this is a numeric value, understood? Even though this is a numeric value, since I want to consider this entire thing as a single value, okay, since I want to consider this entire thing as a single value, I'm enclosing that in what? Single quotes. Okay, let's see what is the output I'll get for this x. But what we know, integers cannot store decimal values. Na? So when I try to print this, when I say write in the new line, I'll try to print v underscore x value. Okay, when I save it, check for the syntax error, no errors, activate. Let's see what is the output I'll get. When I execute, when I say F8, yes, what is the output I got? Only 123. What is the meaning here? Even though you are storing decimal values, it is not showing me the decimal, it is storing only up to what? 123 only. That's why I got the result as 123. Am I clear? So what I'll do is, I'll try to say v underscore x equal to 123 dot something 87. Some value I'll give. Let us see what is the result I'll get. V underscore x. Okay, save it. Check for the syntax. Execute. When I execute, when I say F8, yes, what is the result I got? 124. So what is the meaning here? Integers cannot store decimal values. If you try to store decimal values, understood? If you try to store decimal values, it will round off to what? Nearest integer. If the value is greater than or equal to 0.5, it will give the next integer. If the value is less than 0.5, it will give the previous integer value. I repeat once again, by default, integers cannot store what? Decimal values. By default, integers cannot store decimal values. If you try to store the decimal values, it will round off to what? Nearest integer. The same is happening here also. It is rounding off to the nearest integer. Here, since this is less than 0.5, I got the value as 123. Here, 0.87 is greater than 0.5. I got the value as what? 124. It is rounding off to what? Nearest integer. Rounding off to the nearest integer. Done. Any questions, please? Any questions here? So the summary is, integers cannot store decimal values. In case if you are storing any decimal values, it will round off to what? Nearest integer. It will round off to the nearest integer. That is what is happening here. No questions? Okay. Now the requirement is, I want to store the decimal values. Understood? I want to store the decimal values. So what I'll do here, I'll declare a variable, data, I'll declare another variable. something v underscore y, type P. P indicates what? Packed. I indicates integer, P indicates packed. P-A-C-K-E-D, packed. The difference between integer and pack is integers cannot store decimal values. Even if you try to store, it is rounding off to what? Nearest integer. Okay? Whereas pack can store what? Integer values. Pack variable can store the integer values. So here I'll say v underscore y is equal to, I'll try, since if I store like this, I'll get an error. Na? Why I'll get an error? Because the moment you give dot, dot indicates what? End of the statement. The moment you give period, it indicates the end of the statement. Now after this period, if I give 45, it doesn't have any meaning. That's why I got the error as what? Statement 45 is not defined. Check your spelling. So what I have to do here also, okay, let me comment it for your reference. This also what? Syntax error. So even though it is a numeric value, in order to consider that as a single value, I need to keep it in single quotes, 123.45. Okay, let me try to print the value of v underscore y. Okay, here just for your understanding, I'll just give some color here. Here I'll give a different color, format color too. Okay, done. I'll try to print the value of y. Write v underscore y. Save it. Check for the syntax error. Yes, no errors. Activate this. Execute. What is the value I got? Again, same 123 na. But you can see I got more space here because pack occupies more bytes, 16 bytes. Okay, whereas integer occupies only what? 4 bytes. Pack can occupy up to 16 bytes. That's why I got more space here. Fine, leave it. But what is our expectation? I should get the result as 123.45 na. I got it only what? I got it only 123. But I told you that pack variables can store what? Decimal values. But still we are getting the same value. Na? Suppose here also I'll say v underscore y equal to, I'll say 123 dot something, something 85, something. If I try to print the value of v underscore y, let's see what is the result I'll get. Check for the syntax, done. Execute, F8. Yes, what I got again? 124. So it is also behaving as integer only. Na? In the packed variable also, if you are trying to store the decimal value, in the packed variable also, if you are trying to store decimal value, it is rounding off to what? Nearest integer. It is also behaving as what? Integer only. So the adjustment you have to do is, see the adjustment here. I'll provide another color here. I'll say, yeah, observe this carefully. I'll say data v underscore z type P. While declaring this packed variable, I will specify like this, decimals 2. Means I am instructing SAP that I want to declare a packed variable which should be capable of storing up to what? 2 decimal values. Done. Let me try to store the data. V underscore z equal to 123.45. I'll try to print it, right? V underscore z. So save it, check for the syntax, activate. When I execute, yes, what I got? 123.45. So what is the meaning here? Whenever you want to store decimal values, we have to go for what? Packed variable. And while declaring packed variable, we have to specify the number of decimal positions. Here I'll say v underscore z equal to something 123 dot something 79. I'll try to print the value of v underscore z. So when I execute this, when I say F8, yes, what I got? 123.70. I got the entire value. Now suppose I'll say v underscore z equal to something 123 dot something 896 something. Okay, 898, something like this. I'm storing how many decimal values? 3 decimal values. But maximum capacity is what? 2 decimal values. So when I try to print this, save it, check for the syntax, no errors, done, execute. When I say F8, yes, what happened? I got 123.90. Why I got 90? Since the maximum decimal values are what, 2 only, na? It is rounding off to what? Nearest integer. It is rounding off to nearest integer. Okay. But I cannot say like this. Suppose I'll say data v underscore r type I. While declaring integer, I'll try to specify the decimal positions. I'm trying to declare an integer variable and I'm specifying the number of decimal positions. So when I do syntax check, yes, I got an error. What is the error I got in the 30th line? The decimals specification is allowed only for type what? P and what? Select options. For type P means for packed variable and select options. What is select options? We don't know at this stage. That will come later on during the course. Am I clear? But I cannot use decimals option. I cannot use decimals option for what? Integers. I can use it only for what? Pack and what? Select option. That's giving what? Error. So this is the difference between integer and what? Packed variables. Any questions? Please ask. Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Rohit.
Sir, how much decimal we can extend? Like there is a 0.2 after 2 is extended. After how much we can extend?
It
9,
depends.
10,
Okay.
11.
Suppose here I'll say decimals 26, for example. Okay. I'm saying number
Okay.
of decimal 26. When I do syntax
Okay.
check, it is giving an error. Decimals place between 26 is too large. Maximum allowed is what? 14 it seems.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Got it?
Okay. Thank you.
So I'll do one thing. I'll comment.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
In result, there is a point is replaced by a comma.
yeah.
I see in
Yeah.
result there is a,
Correct. Here,
but it read as a point.
correct. I gave it as dot only, but in the result, it is shown as comma because of the settings. Okay. So this you need not worry. Internally, the value will be dot only, but when it is displayed, it is showing it as comma because the settings are like that. So where we can see this settings means I'm having one T code called as SU01. Actually, you need not worry about this. This is taken care by administrator. SU01 is a T code which will control what? User settings. So just since you asked, let me show you that. I'll open another session. See, observe this carefully, all of you. Already this is one session. I can open another session. On my standard toolbar, you can see I'm having a button called as new GUI window. I can click on this. Like this, I can open up to 6 sessions. Already one session is there. And again, I open what? Another session by clicking on this open GUI window. So what is the T code I was talking about? SU01. So I'll go to SU01. What is my user ID I logged in? 73 user 17 is my user ID. I'll provide my user ID. I'll click on display. I'll click on display. Okay. So display users. We have a tab called as defaults. If I click on the defaults tab, yeah, you can see here what is the decimal notation they gave here. See, comma, na? Decimal notation. Okay, comma 89. That is the reason it is showing it as comma. Here what we can do, I can click on this. If you want dot only, choose the second one. Dot 89 is there, na? Dot 89. Choose the second one and you can save it. But here I don't have the permission. But in the real time, the basis consultant can modify it by going to a T code called as SU09. So why it is showing comma? Because Default is what here? Comma. If you don't want this, just change it to what? .89, so that you'll get the dot also in the output. So these are all only the settings. We need not worry about that. Clear, Sapna?
One more question, sir. I'm facing some problem in typing. I want to make one statement. I want to make in comment before I giving the star, but I try to this the
Might
word is erasing replaced by star.
might be
Word is erasing replaced by star. I want to make a space there and give to star, but most of the time I want to I doing some statement erasing and try it again.
might be. I think suppose you are given space here, and then here you are trying to give star. I think if you are giving star like this,
Yes, I making space, but actually first word is selecting and erasing and replaced by the coming star.
no, it should not come like that. Now see, star. It's coming now for me. Nothing you have to do like this one.
Okay.
Check it
But
once.
in some settings problem, I think.
Settings, nothing will be there, Swapna. It is you are this thing only. There's nothing in the settings here only.
Most of the time also in statement between I want to some add some word,
Acha, acha.
but that time
Might be,
also
might be
back
on the keyboard. On the keyboard, you make sure that insert button is clicked. You can see on my status bar, INS is there, na? Here at the bottom. INS. INS. Suppose now I'll click on the insert button. I'm clicking on the insert button. What is there here? OVR. OVR means overwrite. Override. So in your system, OVR might be there. So again you press insert. Press insert, then you do it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Clear na? Just try this. If you don't get, let me know tomorrow. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Any other doubts, others? Okay. So we understood the difference between what? Integer and what? Packed variable. Okay. Now let me go for, yeah, I'll go for uline. I'll give a different color just to differentiate the output. Colors are not important here. Right. So now I'll declare another variable, something data v underscore m type C. V underscore m type C. C indicates what? Character. Okay, so for your understanding, I indicates yeah, Narsima, any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, right. Yeah. So I indicates what here? Integer. P indicates what here? Packed. Okay. C indicates what here? Character. C indicates character. Okay. Done. Now I'll say v underscore m equal to, since it is a character variable, I'll put it in single quotes. So I'll say something Gens of Technologies. Gens of Technologies. I'll try to print the value of v underscore m. I'll try to print the value of v underscore m. So save it, check for the syntax error, activate, done, execute. When I execute, okay, I'll do one thing, boss. I gave color 3, no? Color 2, color 3, okay. This also color 4, some color, okay. So I'm trying to print the value of v underscore m. When I execute, when I say F8, what is the value I got here? Only G. Why G? Because character can occupy only 1 byte. 1 byte means only 1 character. 1 byte means only 1 character. Ashok, you have any questions? You are unmuted. Okay. So if you have any questions, ask me. Right. So why I am getting only character here? Because character data type can occupy only 1 byte. 1 byte means 1 character. I want more number of characters. So what I'll do here, I'll say data. Let me declare another variable, v underscore k of 10. Type what? C. Type C. This is called as array of characters. Array of characters means group of characters. Collection of what? Characters. Data v underscore k of 10 type C. Now I'll say v underscore k equal to gens of technologies. Okay, I'll try to print the value of v underscore k. When I save it, check for the syntax, done, execute. Yes, what I got? Gens of space T, because maximum 10 characters. Space is also considered as one character. Gens of is 7 characters. This space is 1 character, and then T 2 characters. Overall what? 10 characters. Maximum 10 characters. If you want to store unlimited number of characters, I'll say something v underscore something t of t, type string. String means what? Collection of what? Characters. Now I'll say v underscore t. I'll say something welcome to some text. I'll say welcome to SAP ABAP something gens of technologies. So I'm trying to store a use string. I'll try to print the value of this v underscore t. Save it. Check for the syntax, done, execute. Yes, what I got? Welcome to SAP ABAP gens of technologies. Is it clear? So if you simply say type C, it can store only one character. This is array of characters, fixed number of characters. This is unlimited number of characters. String is also one of the data type. String is nothing but collection of characters, group of characters. Hope this is clear. Okay. Similarly, I'll declare another color, format color, something fine. I'll say uline. I'll declare a variable v underscore something r1, some name, type D. D indicates what? Date. D indicates date. Date occupies how many bytes? 8 bytes. Character occupies how many bytes? 1 byte. Pack occupies how many bytes? 16 bytes. Okay, pack occupies 16 bytes and integer occupies how many bytes? 4 bytes.
4 bytes.
Yeah, this is 4 bytes. Okay, done. So I declared what? A variable called as v underscore r1 type D. D indicates what? Date. So I want to store today's date. So I think day before yesterday, I told about something ABAP system fields. Na? In ABAP, we have some system fields which starts with what? SY hyphen. All the system fields starts with what? SY hyphen. Okay. So I'll say v underscore r1. I'll say psi datum. Understood? I'll say v underscore r equal to psi datum. I'm trying to store system date in the variable what? V underscore r1. Let me try to print it. Write v underscore r1. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax. Execute. Done. What is that I got? What is the date I got? 03/03/2022. Am I clear? 3rd March 2022. So what is the format I am getting here? So if you see what is the format I am getting? DD MM YYY. Understood? Whatever you give after double quotes, it is considered as comment for inline commenting. My expectation is, okay, so if you see the overall width here, how many bytes? 8 bytes. Overall width is 8 bytes means 8 characters width. My expected width is, I want like this, dd.mm.yyyy. So if you see the overall width here, how many bytes? Overall width is what? 10 bytes. But by default, date can occupy only 8 bytes. So what I'll do here, I'll say right. I want to increase the width of my output. Here when I directly print, by default the date is 8 bytes, I got in 8 bytes only. But my expected output width is what? 10 bytes. So what I'll do, in the parenthesis, I'll say 10. Okay, 10. What is the variable name? V underscore R1. So let's see what is that I'll get. I just gave 10. but I'm not telling what is the delimiter we want. I'm not telling whether you want dot, whether you want hyphen, whether you want slash. I'm not instructing that, but let's see what is the default delimiter, default separator I'll get. So when I do syntax check here, yeah, no errors, execute, I'll say F8. Yes, what is that I got? 03.03.2022. So I got dd.mm.yyyy. So actually I have not specified any delimiter. By default, the delimiter means separator. I got it as dot. Suppose I want like this. I want dd slash mm slash yyyy. Again the width is what? 10 bytes. So what I'll do here, I'll say write slash 10 of v underscore r1. Okay. Related to write statement, we have seen some options like left justified, right justified, centered, color, inverse, all those things. So here I'll say there is another addition, another option called as using edit mask. Okay, in single quotes, dd na, so 2 underscores. Each underscore represents one character. Underscore. Then I want the separator as slash na, slash underscore slash. I want yyyy na, underscore. 4 underscores. Done. Okay, let's see whether I'll get the result as so and so. Save it, check for the syntax, done. Execute. Yes, what I got? 03/03/2022. So what is the addition? What is the option I am using here? Using edit mask. Here each underscore represents one character. What is the separator I used? A slash. So if you want to control that date format, I can use this particular addition using edit mask. Here I gave the width, but I am not using edit mask addition. So by default, I am getting the separator as dot. Yes. Any questions, please?
Sir, what if we want this date in the YYY/mm/dd format, sir?
If you want to change the date formats, it is possible, but we need to wait for a few days, Syed. We require some other knowledge. When we get into function models concept, when we get into string operations, we will see how to control that particular date format. So here, by default, I am getting the date format as like this. But suppose assume that a German customer, he wants to see the year first, then DDMM, or first he wants to see the month, then date, and then what year. Yes, answer is yes. We can control the date formats, but for that we need to wait for few days till we discuss function models concept and string operations. Right, Syed?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, or else here only I'll do like this. Let me check. Let me try to do like this. I'll say first I'll give 4 underscores. Okay. Then I'm giving 2 underscores here. Let's see what happens. Save. Check for the syntax. Execute. What I got here? 0303. Understood? The format is not changed. Understood? The format is not changed, but the first 4 characters are displayed like that. But what is our expectation? I want 2022 like that. So that is possible, but we need to wait for a few days. Okay. So that is about the edit mask. Okay.
Sir,
Yes, Sai.
at 58th line we have specified 10. So what happens if we write that in 47th line before type?
Here.
Yes. Yes.
I'll try to do. Let's see what happens. Save it. Check for the syntax. What is the error I got? Type D can only have the length specification 8 or no length specification. It is saying if you want, you give 8. Otherwise, don't give anything, because the default width is 8 bytes only, na? Right side. Okay. So at the time of displaying, you control it by giving the width in the right statement, not at the time of declaration. Okay. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll keep this for your reference. Syntax error. Okay, so let me say data v underscore r1 type what? D. What is that I said here? Date, how many bytes? 8 bytes. Okay, this is about the date data type. Similarly, format color 6, I'll say uline. Okay, uline. I'll say data v underscore r2 type T. T indicates what? Time. Time occupies 6 bytes. Time occupies 6 bytes. Now I want to store the current type. So v underscore r2 equal to, I will use a system field UGIT. I believe already I covered this. We have a system field UGIT which stores the application server time. Let me try to print it. I'll say write v underscore r2. So save it, check for the syntax, done, execute. F8. Yes, what I got? I got something 9:20:19. I got the server time. Actually, if you see my system time, what it is showing here? 9:25. 9:25. But what it is showing here in the output here, now what is the time? 9:20:35 seconds. So it is showing the server time, SAP server time. Wherever my SAP server is available, it is going to show that server time. Okay. If you want to see the local time also, we can see, but for that again we need to discuss about function modules. Okay. So right. Similarly here also, I want to increase the width. I want the output as something. So what is that I am getting here by default here? Hours, minutes, seconds. Now I'll say right. I'll say I'll increase the width to something 8. I'll say v underscore r2. So when I execute this, when I say f8, yes, what I got? 9:21:19. 9:21:19. So what is that default separator I got? Hours, colon I got. Minutes, colon, seconds. If you want to change the default delimiter, again use what? Edit mask. So again I want 8 bytes. I'll say v underscore r2. I'll say using what? Using what? Edit mask. Here I'll say hours, na? HH-minutes underscore hyphen seconds underscore. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax. Execute. F8. What I got? 9-22-02. So using edit mask is also used for what? Controlling that date and time delimiters. Date and time delimiters. Okay, like that, going forward, we'll have other data types also. What are the data types I discussed so far? They are the normal standard data types like integer, pack. Understood? Integer, pack, character, string, date, time. All those things are what? Normal data types. Similarly, I'll say format color 7. I'll say uline. I'll say data v underscore r3 type f. Type f. F indicates what? Float. Float occupies 8 bytes. Okay. I'll say v underscore r3 equal to I'll say something 123.45. Let's see what we generally don't use this float. I'm trying to print the value of v underscore r3. Okay, so save it, check for the syntax, done, execute. So when I say f8, yes, what I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some exponential format algorithm. So we never use float, but that is only for the information. Okay, F will give the data in what? F will give it in what? Exponential format. Am I clear? So these are the basic data types. Integer, character, pack, string, date, time. All these are called as basic data types, or we call it as primitive data types, or we call it as what? Standard data types. Any questions, please? Any questions?
Sir, what is the difference between packed and float, sir?
Pack, you can control the decimal positions, all those things. Whereas float is for some trigonometric calculations. We never use it. Here, actually, what is the value I stored here? 123.45. When I execute, what is the output I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, exponential format. So what is the usage? That we'll see later on, but we 99.999% we never use float. Always we use integer or what, packed. Understood? So more about this float, we'll wait for some days. When I press F1 here, observe this. I'll put the cursor here on F. I'll press F1. When I press F1, I'll get the documentation related to that. Yeah. Okay. So I can see here F indicates what? 8 bytes. Binary floating point number. Binary floating point number. Understood? You'll get it in some exponential format. We generally don't use it. Okay. You can see binary floating point numbers are represented internally. That is for internal purpose in according with some standard. Okay. Decimal place are 1 before the decimal points here. Exponential format itself. So we generally we never use it. To be fair, in my 15-16 years of experience on SAP, I never use float, but just is only to just show you that there is another data type, because we have float data type in C, C++ also. There it is different, here it is slightly different. Here in ABAP, if you want to deal with the decimal values, always go for packed. And while declaring the packed variable, you specify the number of decimal positions. If you don't specify the number of decimal positions, it will act as what? Integer. Again, it will round off to what? Nearest integer. Yeah, any other questions?
Sir, while giving the value for VR1 and VR2, we are using system field, sir. So, is there any way that we can give it? Can you give it as a string?
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay. Sir? Okay. I understood. Suppose here I'll say, let me declare another variable. Or here only I'll do it. Why there? So here only somewhere here. Okay. Before this date, I'll say v underscore r1 equal to. Okay. What is today's date? 03 or 03 2022. According to our understanding, we are storing in what? DDMM. That is our understanding. Let me try to print the value of v slash v underscore r1. V underscore r1. I'll try to give some color here just to differentiate. Okay, let's see. So when I execute here, when I say F8, where is that boss? Yeah, this one, what I got? Something 222 So internally it is considering some other format, it is showing that. That is why whenever you want to deal with date and time, you don't hard code the value. Better you refer to what? System field. If you are hard coding, it cannot understand what is DD, what is MM, what is YY. You will have that problem. Clear, Sayed?
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
హలో సార్, అయితే మనకి నచ్చిన డేట్ ఇవ్వకూడదా సార్?
No, we can give, but within the program we should not give. Actually, that will come later on, but we'll discuss that later on. Suppose I'll say parameters p underscore x type d, I'll say. Okay, parameter p underscore x type d. When I execute, okay, I'm not getting anything here. Okay, so I'll say type what? Psi datum, save it, check for the syntax. So going forward, what we'll do is, right? So you can see here, I'll just browse this. What I'm getting here, date calendar. I'm getting the calendar. I can choose the date. Okay, I can choose whatever date I want. Just like this. Is it clear? So we will never give the date within the program. not only date, any value we will not give within the program. Generally, we accept it as an input from the user. So when you're accepting date from the user as input, you provide this calendar. Okay, this is called as F for help. We have not yet discussed about that. We'll talk about that later on, but you can see I'm getting the date calendar here. I can choose a date according to my requirements. Clear, Tejashvi?
Okay, sir. Clear, sir.
Yeah. So as of now, we are not focusing on parameters. I'll cover that parameters in tomorrow's session. How to read the user input. Yeah. Any other queries here?